The sky above New York City shimmered unnaturally as a strange object descended silently through the clouds. It was massive, its surface reflecting the sunlight like liquid metal. People stopped what they were doing, staring upward in awe and fear. Cars slowed down on busy streets and conversations halted as everyone tried to make sense of what they were seeing. Among the crowd stood Alex Carter, a young engineer who had always dreamed of meeting extraterrestrial life. But not like, this. Alex adjusted his glasses and squinted at the enormous ship hovering above the city. He wasn't sure if he should feel excited or terrified. The vessel didn't look friendly. Its edges glowed faintly, and a low hum vibrated through the air, making his chest feel heavy. Around him, people whispered nervously, some taking out their phones to record the event while others simply froze in place. No one knew what to do. Back at the United Nations headquarters, Rachel Miller sat in a large conference room filled with diplomats and officials from around the world. She was known for her calm and steady demeanor, but even she couldn't hide the tension in her voice as she addressed the group. "We need to act quickly," she said, looking at the faces around the table. "This isn't just about one country or one city. This affects all of us." The alien ship had already sent a message, broadcast across every communication channel on Earth. Their voices were cold, mechanical, and devoid of emotion. "We are here for your energy," the message stated. "Surrender it, or face annihilation." The words sent chills down Rachel's spine. She glanced at the screens showing live footage of the ship. It loomed over New York like a predator sizing up its prey. Rachel immediately began organizing an emergency meeting with scientists, engineers, and military leaders. Governments around the world agreed to cooperate, setting aside their differences for the sake of survival. Within hours, teams of experts were gathered in secure facilities to figure out a plan. Among them was Alex Carter, who had been called in because of his expertise in advanced engineering. He arrived at a high-tech lab where dozens of people worked frantically, typing on computers, sketching diagrams, and running simulations. One of the first people Alex met there was Maya Lopez, a physicist whose research on sustainable energy had made headlines in scientific journals. She was tall and confident with dark hair tied back in a ponytail. Her sharp eyes scanned the room as she introduced herself to Alex. "We don't have much time," she said bluntly. "If we don't come up with something soon, we're done for." Alex nodded, feeling the weight of the situation settle on his shoulders. Together, they joined a brainstorming session led by Rachel, who had joined via video call. The room buzzed with ideas, but most of them sounded impossible or too risky. Some suggested launching missiles at the ship, but that idea was quickly dismissed. No one knew how powerful the aliens' defenses were. Others proposed trying to communicate further, hoping to negotiate peace. But the aliens' tone had been clear. They weren't interested in talking. As the discussions continued, Maya stepped forward with a theory. "They're not after fossil fuels or nuclear power," she explained, pointing to a diagram on the screen. "They want Earth's magnetic field, the energy that powers everything from our satellites to natural systems. If they take it, we'll lose more than electricity. Our atmosphere will destabilize and life as we know it will end." A murmur of alarm spread through the room. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. He had studied Earth's magnetic field before, but he never imagined it could be targeted by an alien race. "Is there any way to stop them?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Maya hesitated, then shook her head. "Not directly. Their technology is far beyond ours. But," she paused, thinking carefully, "what if we could amplify Earth's magnetic field? We might be able to overload their systems when they try to siphon the energy." The room fell silent as everyone processed her suggestion. It was risky, and no one knew if it would work. But it was the only plan they had. Rachel gave a firm nod. "Do it," she said. "Whatever resources you need, you'll get them. Just make it happen." With that, Alex and Maya got to work. They spent hours poring over calculations, designing prototypes, and testing theories. The pressure was immense, but neither of them complained. They knew failure wasn't an option. Outside the lab, chaos reigned. News outlets reported panic spreading across cities as people prepared for the worst. Grocery stores were emptied, and long lines formed outside banks and gas stations. Military forces were put on high alert, ready to defend against any attack. Meanwhile, the aliens grew impatient. Their drones began probing Earth's atmosphere, scanning for weaknesses. Each drone emitted a low-frequency pulse that disrupted electronics within range. Power grids flickered, and communications suffered brief outages. In response, fighter jets shot down several of the probes, but each destroyed drone seemed to anger the invaders more. The alien ship sent another message. "Your resistance is futile. Surrender now." Despite the growing tension, Alex and Maya refused to give up. They worked tirelessly, fueled by coffee and adrenaline. Days turned into nights, and the clock ticked closer to what felt like doomsday. Every hour mattered, and every decision carried immense consequences. At one point, Alex leaned back in his chair and rubbed his temples. "Do you think we can really pull this off?" he asked, his voice tinged with doubt. Maya looked up from her notes and gave him a small smile. "We have to," she said simply. "If we don't, no one else will." Her words reminded Alex why he became an engineer in the first place, to solve problems and make the world a better place. And right now the problem was bigger than anything he'd ever faced. Taking a deep breath, he returned to his work, determined to see it through. Outside, the alien ship remained suspended in the sky, casting a shadow over humanity's future. Inside the lab, hope burned brightly in the hearts of those working to protect their home. The battle was far from over, but for the first time since the invasion began, Alex felt a spark of optimism. Whatever happened next, humanity would face it together, with courage, ingenuity, and the unyielding belief that they could overcome even the greatest odds. As the days passed, the situation on Earth grew more tense. The alien ship still hovered above New York City, a constant reminder of the threat hanging over humanity. Governments around the world worked together in ways they never had before, pooling resources and sharing information to find a solution. In secure facilities hidden from public view, scientists and engineers raced against time to turn Maya's idea into reality. Among them were Alex Carter and Maya Lopez, who spent every waking moment refining their plan. Maya's proposal was bold but risky. She believed that if they could amplify Earth's magnetic field using advanced technology, they might be able to overload the alien ship's systems when it attempted to siphon energy. The concept sounded simple enough, but building a device capable of generating such immense electromagnetic pulses was anything but easy. It required materials that were rare, expertise that few possessed, and precision that left no room for error. Alex stood in front of a large whiteboard covered in equations and diagrams. His hands were streaked with ink, and his shirt was wrinkled from hours of non-stop work. Beside him, Maya typed furiously on a laptop, running simulations to test their calculations. The two of them barely spoke, their focus entirely consumed by the task at hand. Around them, other teams worked on different aspects of the project, some designing components, others testing prototypes, and a few monitoring the alien ship's movements. Despite the urgency, progress was slow. Every step forward seemed to come with 2 steps back. One morning, Alex stared at the results of yet another failed simulation. "We're missing something," he muttered, frustration evident in his voice. "If we can't get this right, all of this will have been for nothing." Maya looked up from her screen and gave him a reassuring smile. "We'll figure it out," she said. "We don't have a choice." Her confidence was unwavering, even when the odds felt insurmountable. She reminded Alex of why they were doing this, not just to save themselves, but to protect everyone on the planet. While Alex and Maya focused on the technical side of things, Rachel Miller handled the diplomatic front. As a seasoned diplomat, she knew how important it was to keep lines of communication open, both among nations and with the aliens. She coordinated daily meetings with world leaders, ensuring that everyone stayed informed and united. At the same time, she tried to reason with the invaders, sending messages pleading for negotiation, but the aliens' responses were always the same: cold, dismissive, and threatening. "They don't care about us," Rachel told Alex and Maya during one of their briefings. To them, we're just an obstacle standing between them and what they want. Her words weighed heavily on the team, but they only strengthened their resolve. If diplomacy wouldn't work, then humanity would have to rely on ingenuity and determination. Alex and Maya poured everything they had into their project, working late into the night and surviving on coffee and snacks brought in by support staff. They barely noticed the passage of time, their minds consumed by numbers, formulas, and possibilities. Finally, after countless setbacks and sleepless nights, they made a breakthrough. Maya adjusted a key parameter in their design, and suddenly, the simulation started showing promising results. "This could actually work," she said, her eyes lighting up with excitement. Alex leaned over her shoulder, studying the data on the screen. For the first time in days, he allowed himself to feel a glimmer of hope. The next challenge was building the device itself. Dubbed Project Aurora by the team, it resembled a fusion reactor crossed with a Tesla coil. Its towering structure was made of reinforced steel and lined with coils of superconducting wire. At its core sat a powerful generator designed to channel Earth's magnetic field into a concentrated burst of energy. The entire contraption took shape in a remote facility near the Arctic Circle, chosen for its proximity to Earth's natural magnetic poles. As construction progressed, tensions escalated outside the lab. The aliens grew increasingly impatient, deploying more drones to probe Earth's atmosphere. These probes caused widespread disruptions, knocking out power grids and interfering with communications. Military forces shot down several of them, but each attack only seemed to provoke the invaders further. The alien ship sent another message, this time accompanied by a display of force. A massive beam of energy shot into the sky, creating a deafening boom that echoed across continents. Rachel watched the footage from her office, her jaw tightening with worry. She knew the window for action was closing fast. Turning to her assistant, she said, "We need to buy them more time." With that, Rachel crafted a carefully worded message aimed at deceiving the aliens. She claimed that humanity had developed a new method of harvesting unlimited energy and offered to share it peacefully. The message emphasized cooperation and mutual benefit, hoping to appeal to whatever logic drove the invaders. To her relief, the aliens responded, intrigued by the prospect of acquiring such technology. They agreed to send a delegation to meet with human representatives near the Arctic Circle, where Project Aurora was secretly stationed. When the news reached Alex and Maya, they exchanged nervous glances. The plan was risky, but it was also their best chance of success. Rachel assured them that she would accompany the diplomatic team to ensure everything went smoothly. "Just make sure your device is ready," she said firmly. "We're counting on you." In the final days leading up to the meeting, Alex and Maya worked tirelessly to fine-tune Project Aurora. They ran tests, double-checked connections, and rehearsed the activation sequence until they could do it in their sleep. Despite their exhaustion, they refused to let up. Every second counted. On the day of the meeting, Alex and Maya monitored the operation from a hidden command center miles away. Screens displayed live footage of the alien delegation arriving at the designated location. Rachel stood alongside a small group of diplomats, her expression calm but alert. The aliens emerged. From their shuttle, their sleek humanoid forms glowing faintly. Their leader stepped forward, its voice sharp and commanding. "Show us your energy source," it demanded. Unbeknownst to them, Alex activated Project Aurora remotely. The ground trembled as the device roared to life, arcs of electricity crackling through the air. The aliens paused, their glowing bodies flickering uncertainly. For a moment, everything seemed to hang in the balance. Then, without warning, the electromagnetic pulse surged, overloading the alien ship's systems. Sparks flew from their equipment, and their forms dissolved into streams of light that faded into nothingness. Back at the command center, Alex and Maya watched in stunned silence as the alien ship shuddered violently before breaking apart in a fiery explosion. Cheers erupted around them, but Alex couldn't bring himself to celebrate just yet. He turned to Maya, his voice trembling with emotion. Did we really do it?" Maya nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. We did, she whispered. We actually did it. As the realization sank in, Alex felt a wave of relief wash over him. Humanity had faced an unimaginable threat, and somehow they had triumphed. But deep down, he knew this wasn't the end. Somewhere out there, beyond the stars, other dangers might still lurk. For now, though, Earth was safe, and that was enough. The aftermath of the alien encounter left Earth in a state of cautious relief. The skies were clear, and the once menacing ship that had loomed over New York City was now gone, reduced to fragments of burning debris scattered across the atmosphere. People around the world celebrated the victory, hailing Alex Carter, Maya Lopez, and their team as heroes. News outlets replayed footage of the event, showing the moment when Project Aurora unleashed its powerful electromagnetic pulse, turning the tide against the invaders. It was a triumph not just of technology but of human ingenuity and determination. In the days following the battle, Rachel Miller found herself at the center of global attention. As the diplomat who had helped orchestrate both the deception and the diplomatic front, she became a symbol of unity and resilience. World leaders praised her calm leadership during the crisis, crediting her with keeping humanity focused and cooperative. But despite the accolades, Rachel remained grounded. She knew the victory came at great cost, not just in terms of resources, but in the lives disrupted by fear and uncertainty. Alex and Maya, meanwhile, returned to their lab to analyze what had happened. They pored over data collected during the activation of Project Aurora, trying to understand how it had worked so effectively, and whether it could be replicated if needed. The device itself had been damaged in the process, its circuits fried, from the immense energy surge. Still, they salvaged what they could, hoping to improve upon the design for future use. One afternoon, as Alex sat staring at a screen filled with graphs and numbers, Maya walked over with 2 cups of coffee. "You've been at this for hours," she said, handing him one of the cups. "Take a break." Alex accepted the coffee gratefully but didn't move from his seat. "I can't stop thinking about it," he admitted. "What if we hadn't figured it out in time? What if something goes wrong next time?" Maya sighed, sitting down beside him. "We did figure it out, though," she reminded him. "And as for next time, well, that's why we're here, to make sure we're ready." Her words offered little comfort. Alex couldn't shake the feeling that their victory had been a stroke of luck, a perfect alignment of circumstances that might not happen again. The aliens' technology had been far beyond anything humanity possessed, and while Project Aurora had succeeded in defeating them, it was a temporary solution, at best. If another invasion occurred, there was no guarantee they'd be able to fend it off. Rachel shared Alex's concerns. In the weeks after the incident, she spearheaded international discussions aimed at preparing for potential future threats. She argued that humanity needed to invest in advanced defense systems and establish protocols for dealing with extraterrestrial encounters. This wasn't a fluke, she told a room full of diplomats and military officials. If one alien race decided Earth was worth invading, others might think the same. We need to be ready. Her proposal met with mixed reactions. Some countries were eager to collaborate, seeing the value in pooling resources and knowledge. Others hesitated, wary of giving up too much control or exposing their vulnerabilities. Rachel worked tirelessly to bridge these divides, emphasizing that survival depended on cooperation. Slowly but surely, progress was made. Agreements were signed, funding was allocated, and joint research initiatives were launched. Back in the lab, Alex and Maya continued refining Project Aurora. They envisioned ways to harness its potential for peaceful purposes, such as stabilizing power grids or advancing renewable energy technologies. At the same time, they explored new ideas for defending Earth against future threats. One promising concept involved creating smaller portable versions of the device that could be deployed quickly in emergencies. Another focused on developing early warning systems to detect incoming alien ships before they reached Earth. Despite their efforts, questions lingered about the true nature of the invaders. Who were they? Where had they come from? And why had they targeted Earth specifically? These mysteries weighed heavily on Alex, who spent countless hours poring over recordings of the aliens' messages and analyzing fragments of their destroyed ship. He hoped to find clues that might shed light on their origins and perhaps prevent another attack. One evening, as Alex sifted through data in the lab, Maya approached him with an unusual expression on her face. "You need to see this," she said, holding up a tablet. On the screen was an image captured by a satellite orbiting Earth. It showed a faint trail of energy stretching across space, leading away from the planet. "What is it?" Alex asked, leaning closer to get a better look. "It's a propulsion signature," Maya explained, "from the alien ship. I think I've traced where it came from." Alex's heart raced. "Where?" Maya hesitated, then pointed to a distant star system marked on a digital map. "Out there, about 20 light-years away." The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. For the first time, humanity had concrete evidence of intelligent life beyond Earth, and proof that it posed a real threat. The revelation sparked debates about whether to send a message to the aliens' home world, either to warn them or to express a desire for peace. Rachel strongly opposed the idea, arguing that humanity shouldn't reveal its location until it was better prepared to defend itself. "We don't know anything about them," she said during a meeting with top scientists and government officials. "For all we know, sending a signal could invite more trouble." Her caution prevailed, and the decision was made to keep Earth's location hidden, for now. Instead, resources were redirected toward improving planetary defenses and exploring the possibility of building faster-than-light communication systems. The goal was simple: to ensure that humanity would never again be caught off guard. As weeks turned into months, life began to return to normal, or as close to normal as possible after an interstellar conflict. Streets that had once been deserted were bustling again, and people resumed their daily routines with renewed appreciation for the world around them. Yet beneath the surface, changes were taking place. Governments invested heavily in space exploration, hoping to learn more about the universe and identify potential threats. Scientists pushed the boundaries of technology, driven by the knowledge that Earth's survival depended on staying one step ahead. For Alex, the experience had been transformative. He had always believed in the power of engineering to solve problems, but he had never imagined applying his skills to something so monumental. Now every equation he solved and every prototype he built felt like a contribution to humanity's future. Maya shared his sense of purpose, often reminding him that their work was bigger than themselves. Together, they inspired a new generation of engineers and scientists, proving that even in the face of overwhelming odds, innovation could prevail. Late one night, as Alex stood on the roof of the lab gazing at the stars, he thought about how much had changed. The sky above him was quiet, free of the ominous hum that had once signaled doom. But he knew better than to take the peace for granted. Somewhere out there, beyond the vast expanse of space, other civilizations existed. Some friendly, perhaps, but others hostile. Humanity had faced its first test and emerged victorious. Whether it could pass the next one remained to be seen. Just then, his phone buzzed in his pocket. Pulling it out, he saw an alert from NASA's Deep Space Monitoring System. A new object was approaching Earth, this one moving faster than anything previously recorded. Was it another invasion, or something else entirely? Alex stared at the notification, his mind racing. For now, there were no answers, only uncertainty. But one thing was certain. Whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity would face them head-on, with courage, creativity, and the unyielding belief that together, they could overcome anything. The alert from NASA's Deep Space Monitoring System sent a ripple of tension through the team. Alex Carter stared at his phone, the words on the screen sinking in slowly. A new object was approaching Earth, moving faster than anything humanity had ever detected before. It wasn't just a stray asteroid or a rogue comet. It was too precise, too deliberate. The implications weighed heavily on him. He hurried back inside the lab, where Maya Lopez was reviewing data from their latest experiments with Project Aurora. her brow furrowed as she studied the numbers, oblivious to Alex's sudden arrival. "Maya," he said, his voice tight with urgency. She looked up, noticing the worry etched on his face. "We've got a problem." Alex explained the situation, showing her the alert on his phone. Maya's expression darkened as she processed the information. "How long do we have?" she asked. "Not long," Alex replied. "It's moving fast, too fast for us to ignore it. We need to figure out what it is and whether it's a threat." Without wasting another moment, they contacted Rachel Miller, who is overseeing international efforts to prepare for future alien encounters. When Rachel heard the news, her calm demeanor faltered for just a second before she composed herself. "Get me everything you can on this object," she instructed, "and start preparing Project Aurora in case we need it again." Back at the lab, Alex and Maya worked tirelessly to gather more data. They coordinated with observatories around the world, pooling resources to track the mysterious object's trajectory. Satellite images revealed little at first, a faint blur, streaking across the void. But as it drew closer, details began to emerge. The object wasn't a ship like the one that had attacked Earth months earlier. Instead, it appeared to be a massive structure, cylindrical in shape with intricate patterns etched into its surface. "It doesn't look like a weapon," Maya observed, squinting at the enlarged image on her screen. "But that doesn't mean it's harmless." Alex nodded, his mind racing. Could it be some kind of probe? Or maybe a message? Rachel joined them via video call, her face appearing on a large monitor in the lab. "Whatever it is, we need to stay cautious," she said firmly. "We don't know if it's connected to the aliens who attacked us, or if it's something entirely different." As the object entered Earth's orbit, global panic began to rise once again. News outlets picked up the story, speculating wildly about its origins and purpose. Governments scrambled to reassure their citizens, but the fear was palpable. People remembered all too well the destruction caused by the previous invasion, and the sight of another unknown entity in the sky was enough to reignite old anxieties. To prevent widespread chaos, Rachel organized a press conference addressing the world with measured confidence. "We are monitoring the situation closely," she said, standing behind a podium flanked by military officials and scientists. "There is no immediate threat, but we urge everyone to remain calm and trust that we are taking every precaution." Behind the scenes, however, the pressure was mounting. Alex and Maya knew that time was running out. If the object posed a danger, they needed to act quickly, but without knowing its intentions, any move they made could escalate the situation, or worse, provoke an attack. Maya proposed sending a drone to investigate. Equipped with advanced sensors, it could collect valuable data without risking human lives. Alex agreed, and within hours the drone was launched into space. As it approached the object, live footage streamed back to the lab, revealing even more details. The patterns on its surface seemed to shift and glow, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. "It's beautiful," Maya whispered, awestruck by the sight. But Alex remained wary. Beauty didn't always equate to safety. Suddenly, the drone's cameras went dark. Static filled the screens, followed by silence. Everyone in the lab froze, unsure of what had happened. Then, a message appeared. Not broadcast globally this time, but transmitted directly to the drone and relayed to Earth. It was written in symbols unlike anything anyone had seen before, yet somehow they seemed familiar. "What does it mean?" Alex asked, staring at the screen. "I don't know," Maya admitted, "but I think it's trying to communicate." Rachel arrived at the lab shortly after, her presence bringing a sense of order to the chaos. She listened intently as Alex and Maya explained the situation. "If it's trying to talk to us, then we need to respond," she said decisively, "but carefully. We don't want to give away too much." With Rachel's approval, the team crafted a simple reply, using mathematical sequences and basic geometric shapes, universal concepts that transcended language barriers. They transmitted the message through the same channel the object had used, hoping for a response. Hours passed with no reply. Tension hung thick in the air as everyone waited, unsure of what would happen next. Finally, just as hope began to fade, the object responded. This time, the message was clearer, almost as if it had adapted to make itself understood. It contained coordinates pointing to a location deep in the Pacific Ocean. "They want us to go there," Maya said, her voice tinged with both excitement and apprehension. Rachel frowned. "Why would they send us to the ocean?" "To show us something," Alex suggested. "Or maybe to test us, to see how we react." After a brief discussion, Rachel authorized a mission to investigate. A team of scientists, engineers, and military personnel boarded a submarine equipped with cutting-edge technology. Alex and Maya accompanied the crew, determined to uncover the truth behind the mysterious object. The journey to the coordinates took several days, during which the team prepared for every possible scenario. When they finally arrived, they found themselves hovering above a vast underwater structure. Its design mirrored the patterns on the object in space, glowing faintly in the darkness of the ocean floor. "It's incredible," Maya murmured, watching the live feed from the sub's cameras. "Whoever built this must have been here before." As the submarine descended closer, the structure emitted a low hum, vibrating through the water. Suddenly, a panel on its surface slid open, revealing a chamber inside. Without hesitation, Alex and Maya suited up in diving gear and entered the chamber, their hearts pounding with anticipation. Inside, they discovered what appeared to be a repository of knowledge, an archive containing information encoded in light and sound. The data streams were complex, but Maya recognized fragments of equations and diagrams that hinted at advanced technologies far beyond humanity's current understanding. "They're sharing their knowledge with us," Alex said, his voice filled with awe. "But why?" Maya shook her head. "Maybe they're not invaders. Maybe they're explorers or teachers." Back on the surface, Rachel received updates from the team, her expression softening with relief. For the first time since the crisis began, she allowed herself to feel a glimmer of hope. Perhaps not all extraterrestrial encounters would end in conflict. Perhaps humanity still had much to learn and much to gain from the universe beyond. As the mission continued, Alex and Maya worked to decode the information stored in the underwater structure. Each discovery brought new questions, but also new possibilities. Whatever the object's creators intended, one thing was clear: humanity's future was now intertwined with forces far greater than anyone had imagined. And so, amidst uncertainty and wonder, the journey continued, not as a battle for survival, but as a quest for understanding. The discoveries made in the underwater structure changed everything. Alex Carter and Maya Lopez spent days analyzing the data streams, piecing together fragments of knowledge that hinted at technologies far beyond anything humanity had ever imagined. The information was vast and complex, encoded in patterns of light and sound that seemed to shift and adapt as they studied them. It wasn't just a repository of facts. It was a living archive, designed to teach those who accessed it. Back on the surface, Rachel Miller coordinated efforts to share the findings with scientists and researchers around the world. Governments agreed to collaborate, setting aside their differences for the sake of understanding this unprecedented gift. For the first time, humanity felt like it was being given a chance, not just to survive, but to grow. As the weeks passed, Alex and Maya began to unlock some of the archive's secrets. They discovered designs for energy systems that could harness power from stars, blueprints for machines capable of repairing ecosystems, and even instructions for creating materials stronger than anything on Earth. Each revelation sparked excitement but also raised questions. Why had the creators of the archive chosen to share this knowledge, and what did they expect in return? Maya often found herself staring at the glowing symbols projected onto the walls of their lab. "It's like they're trying to guide us," she said one evening, her voice quiet but filled with wonder. "But where are they leading us?" Alex nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. "Maybe they want us to join them, to become part of something bigger." Rachel shared their thoughts during a meeting with world leaders. "This isn't just about technology," she explained. "It's about connection. Whoever left this archive saw potential in us. They believe we can contribute to the universe if we're willing to rise to the challenge. Her words resonated deeply, inspiring a renewed sense of purpose among nations. Investments poured into research initiatives aimed at applying the newfound knowledge to real-world problems. Teams worked tirelessly to develop prototypes based on the designs in the archive, hoping to create solutions for climate change, energy shortages, and other global crises. But progress wasn't without its challenges. Some of the concepts were so advanced that translating them into practical applications required years of trial and error. Others raised ethical concerns. How far should humanity go in embracing alien technologies? Could such power corrupt or destabilize societies already struggling with inequality? Despite these hurdles, hope remained strong. People around the world watched as breakthroughs emerged. Clean energy sources that powered entire cities without harming the environment, medical treatments that cured diseases once thought incurable, and agricultural innovations that ended food shortages in impoverished regions. Slowly but surely, Earth began to heal under the influence of the archive's teachings. Meanwhile, Alex and Maya continued exploring the underwater structure, uncovering more layers of its mysteries. One day, they stumbled upon a chamber unlike any they'd seen before. Its walls shimmered with moving images, scenes of distant planets, alien landscapes, and civilizations thriving among the stars. At the center of the room stood a pedestal, glowing faintly with an invitation. "What do you think it does?" Alex asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Maya hesitated, then reached out to touch the pedestal. Instantly, the room came alive, filling with voices speaking in harmonious tones. Though the language was unfamiliar, the meaning was clear. The creators of the archive were inviting humanity to take its place among the stars. "They want us to explore," Maya said, her eyes wide with amazement. "To leave Earth and join them." The realization sent shockwaves through the team. For centuries, humans had dreamed of traveling beyond their solar system, but the limitations of technology had always held them back. Now, with the knowledge provided by the archive, those dreams seemed within reach. Rachel called an emergency meeting to discuss the implications. "This is our moment," she told the assembled leaders and scientists. "We've been given tools and guidance. The question is, are we ready to use them?" Debate erupted, with opinions divided. Some argued that humanity needed to focus on fixing problems at home before venturing into space. Others believed that exploration was essential, not just for survival, but for growth. In the end, a consensus emerged. Earth would prepare for interstellar travel while continuing to address its challenges. Two paths would run parallel, one reaching outward, the other turning inward. Construction began, on spacecraft based on the designs from the archive. Engineers and architects worked side by side, building vessels capable of carrying humans across unimaginable distances. Meanwhile, education programs were launched to train astronauts and scientists for the journey ahead. The project became a symbol of unity, bringing people together in pursuit of a common goal. As preparations progressed, Alex and Maya reflected on how far they'd come since the alien invasion months earlier. What had started as a desperate fight for survival had transformed into an opportunity for transformation. Humanity had faced its darkest hour and emerged stronger, not because of weapons or force, but because of ingenuity, cooperation, and the courage to embrace the unknown. One evening, Alex stood on the roof of the lab, gazing at the stars. Maya joined him, holding 2 cups of coffee. "Do you think we'll make it?" she asked, handing him one of the cups. He smiled, taking a sip. "I think we have to. This isn't just about us. It's about everyone who comes after us." She nodded, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "And maybe, just maybe, we'll find out who left the archive for us." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden alert from NASA's monitoring system. Another object was approaching Earth, this one smaller than the last, but moving with unmistakable purpose. Initial scans revealed markings similar to those on the underwater structure, suggesting a connection. Rachel arrived at the lab shortly afterward, her expression a mix of curiosity and caution. "Could it be another message, Yuri?" she asked. "Or maybe visitors," Maya replied, her voice tinged with both excitement and apprehension. The team prepared for contact, unsure of what to expect. When the object entered Earth's atmosphere, it descended gently, landing in a remote desert region. A delegation led by Rachel traveled to the site, accompanied by Alex, Maya, and a team of experts. As they approached the craft, its surface shimmered, revealing a doorway. From within, figures emerged, not humanoid like the invaders from before, but beings of light and energy, radiating warmth and intelligence. They communicated not with words, but with emotions and images, conveying a single message: welcome. Tears welled up in Maya's eyes as she realized the truth. Humanity hadn't been abandoned, it had been chosen. The road ahead would be long and uncertain, but for the first time in history, the stars no longer seemed unreachable. Rachel stepped forward, extending a hand in greeting. "Thank you," she said simply, knowing the gesture transcended language. That moment, humanity took its first step toward a future among the stars, a future shaped not by fear but by hope. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together, guided by the lessons of the past and the promise of tomorrow.